Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Board Game Mechanics. I'm Katie, and with me, as always, is...
Hey, everybody, what's going on? It is Jason.
Oh, man, it's back to school. So we are recording in the middle of the day because our kids are at school.
Back to school.
I sing that almost like every day that I get ready for school. A lot of Billy Madison vibes in the morning. Oh, my gosh. I'm also back to school, and I realize... there are tons of people that go and start work at 8 o'clock or earlier. I have not been one of those people for a long time. And to do it every day, 5 days a week is rough for me. Mostly because I'm a night owl. So I'll still think, oh, I can stay up till midnight. No big deal. I don't need sleep. But for every person out there, it's like, oh, I can run on 5 hours of sleep. I'm the person that helps us average it to 8 hours because I need 9 hours of sleep to feel rested. So my wagon is dragging.
Yeah, I can do fine with whatever amount of sleep I get, yeah.
That's not true at all.
For a few hours, I'm good.
Yeah, but like if you are without sleep, like if you are trying to do what I'm doing, like you would get so cranky. Because you get cranky when you don't have enough sleep.
I get cranky when I go to bed at 3 and wake up at 7. That's a different story.
I know, but like you just get like ragey. Like I get hangry. Like if I don't have enough sleep, I'm like, okay, I just start like doing dumb stuff and my speech gets slurred and I'm like, I need to take a nap. But it's not a big deal. You're like, I
do get ragey. That's true. I do.
Mm-hmm.
I do.
Yeah. Anyway, so I'm a little low on sleep. I'm running on caffeine and naps. But school has started. I have almost 70 students, and I have successfully memorized all their names, even though they keep moving around in their seats, which is hard for me to remember them when they move around in their seats.
I hate when people move around in their seats. It's annoying.
You'd be the person that's like, I'm sitting in the same seat. How dare anyone else try and sit in my seat? I picked this seat on the first day, and I will never leave it.
And I do. That's what I do. You're right.
I like to move around, but I realize from the other side of things, it's very difficult. I'm like, shoot. And then I have classes that come into the same room. So different students fill the same seats. And so my brain is like trying to remember where people are based on like their occupancy in space. So I'm like, okay, in this chair was this person. Or at this table, I had these names. Well, and then I have like overlapping names from periods. I'm like, shoot, Zoe sat over there last time, but there's a Zoe in this class, but she's on the other side of the room. Whew. It's been an exercise in my brain. And every classroom I've been in has been overwhelmingly hot this week, which does not work for me. I love the modern convenience of air conditioning. I will not go without it. And I don't know why every room I'm in, the air conditioning is broken.
Yeah, that sucks.
More than lack of sleep or being hungry, the heat makes me ragey. I almost got into a fight as like a concert at this tiny hole in the wall because it was so hot. We were staying there the whole time, and I didn't know that it was going to be that hot. And people were just like shoving past, going and getting beer and like shoving their way back to the front. And I'm like, no, I've been here this whole time. You left. You don't get to come back to the front. And I was like, never again. I'm never going back there because I got so ragey because I was so hot. It was annoying. I think you were embarrassed by me.
I mean, that happens occasionally.
Where I get ragey or I embarrass you?
You embarrass me. I mean, you do get ragey too, but I was talking about the embarrassment part.
Yeah, I embarrassed Jason. We went to our daughter's first like cheer match, which was pouring down rain and awful. But I'm like yelling at the football plays, like, tackle him! That kid's right there. What are you doing? Get
They're
low.
8 years old. They're 8 years old.
I know, but good instruction is helpful at any age.
Yeah, and also not running the same play every 5 seconds is good instruction too, so they learn how to do other things. But we didn't talk about that.
They have to successfully run the play at least once, so we're going to try it many times.
They need to get a yard. They needed a yard. That's it.
I know. Oh, well. Maybe next year I'll just coach, and then you won't be as embarrassed, because it's okay to yell from the sidelines at that point.
That's true.
Okay, that's enough of my random banter. Now you know everything that's going on in my life. let's talk about news and crowdfunding, I guess, instead. Move on while we're here. I gotta tell you, crowdfunding's looking a little slim right now, at least on Kickstarter, because woof. I went into the far reaches. My Kickstarter correspondent also far reaches. So we'll see how this goes. The first thing I want to talk about on Kickstarter is actually not a game. No, it's not. But it is token trays. And literally, that is the name of the Kickstarter project, Token Trays. And guess what? It's token trays. No catchy, gimmicky name, just token trays. These trays are made by CNC Woodsmith, which are these two guys that actually have a lot of like letters behind their name. And one of them is a master woodworker. They also, like, one guy builds guitars, like, on the side. Like, they have, like, legit stuff. They've made some other projects on Kickstarter. Some little minimalist miniatures, like this thing called a character crate. Just some other things they've worked on. And now they're back with token trays. And token trays is like a 3-spot of these nice little rounded kind of wells, pockets, they call them, for your tokens. And then there's also like a really like thin card slot on each one. So you can use these as like personal like player trays, or you can just set several together to just do overall like bank kind of storage for a whole game. They're made from wood. I think they said walnut and cherry. So American hardwoods, locally sourced. So they're long lasting. Like we have several different ones, different types of things that we use for tokens. Some of them work better than others. And they were actually saying like, we made these for ourselves. We've changed them several times. We tried a bunch of different stuff, cereal bowls and crafting containers and silicone trays and like all this stuff. And so they wanted something that was really simple, didn't have to get set up, like just pull it out. So they're like minimal, simple, and look really nice because they're crafted from hardwood. Like, I mean, they're nice. So if you're looking at some trays, I think they are 8x3. So 8 inches long, 3 inches, like wide, deep, not deep. That's a different number.
Probably wide. Probably wide.
Okay. Don't ask me. I'm not good with the numbers. I'm sorry. Check these out. They look really nice. To get a lot of them is a bit of an investment, but they're made from like walnut and cherry. So like there's like serious trays. So check out Token Trays. There are 8 days left in that Kickstarter. To buy one is like $20, and then they do the more you buy, are all like $20 per. So like you could get 2 for $35. So you're saving $5. You can get 4 for like $65. So if you want to buy more, they are like kind of giving you a little bit of a bundle discount there. So that's Token Trays.
Yeah, these look really nice. They remind me of the Wormwood company. They do this stuff, but their stuff is considerably more expensive than these. Mm-hmm. So to be made with real wood, they look nice. I don't think $20 is a bad idea. I mean, we have the nice 3D printed ones that I'm just fine with, but these wooden ones look really good. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I love Wormwood stuff. It is gorgeous. But like Jason won't even let me stop at the booth at Origins or Gen Con. He's like, nope, that's not for us.
It costs $15 just to walk by.
They're really nice, but it is like that. Those nice solid woods, like really well done stuff. And these look of that quality. So check it out. My next one is like the complete opposite. So we go from like handmade hardwoods to a print and write or print and play. And it's a print at home roll and write game. Well, we have plenty of those, don't you say? Well, of course, but this one is about being paleontologists, which I think is super cool theme. So this is called Bako Dig and Write. So in Bako Dig and Write, you are rolling dice, and then you're using the numbers on the dice to draw fences on your board. And you're trying to actually draw these fences in certain shapes, because if you draw them in a certain shape, then it allows you to unearth a fossil or a skeleton. Like there's pteranodons, there's even like Homo sapiens, like there's all kinds of stuff, relics, like an ancient civilization kind of thing. And that's like a big fenced in, because so it's almost like when you're an archaeologist, I guess it's not only paleontologist, because some of it's archaeology, not just, I think, based on these pictures. So there's 5 cards in these different shapes that you're trying to draw. So like, you know, like archaeologists, like they put up the stakes and like, okay, like you have to label your little sections so that you know where you found everything in order to really document the find. You're kind of doing that with this roll and write, to get your little finds. And then also there's some player interaction where you can like put holes in the other player's sheet. So it's like, oh, well, here's a hole here. Can't dig that. Which Jason hates, but it's possible. And then there's these eggs also on your board that if you fully enclose them, you can find gems inside, and those gems allow you to kind of break some of the rules as far as how you make your fences and things in order to, use your enclosure better. Seems pretty simple. Looks cute. There's 15 discovery cards in total, but you only use 5 like each time. So you can mix it up, change it up a little bit. So if you like the roll and writes, you want kind of a new concept, maybe you really like archaeology, check out Bako Dig and Write. There are 10 days left on that Kickstarter, and it's $6 for your print and play.
Yes, it sounds really fun, except for the whole messing with other people. And I don't mind like interacting with other people. I just always hate how a lot of games it's always negative. I know some people are into that. It's just not my jam. So I like positive interaction or no interaction at all if I'm going to do that. But I do like the digging for fossils. I think that's cool. That's a cool theme, and I want that in more games.
I know, it is super cool. The last game is like super production. So we've been all over the gamut. I can't tell you if I know how to play this game, but I'm so intrigued. And this is called Doomensions, right? Doomensions Pop-Up Mystery Manor. So this is said to be a 3D pop-up escape room in a box. It's part escape room, part murder mystery, all pop-up. And when I say pop-up, I mean like legit, and there's no assembly required, which I thought was great. This is an 8-room pop-up. So like you open this book up, and like if you pull it all the way around, there's like there's 4 sides, like a square, and each side has got like 2 rooms on it. And I mean, it's not just like a room. Like there's a bathroom that has a pop-up toilet in it, and a shower curtain around the tub. Like, it is cuckoo bananas how much stuff is in it. There's even like little gabled roofs. So you're playing the part of this paranormal investigator. You have a scrapbook of evidence. So you have also other materials besides what's inside the 3D manor. And you're to try to solve these cases. And from the look of it, there's 4 different cases that come in like for your case file. And there's little clippings and foldouts and stuff in your case file, as well as in the manor itself, where you're going to look for clues. There's like symbols sometimes on the walls and stuff that you're going to use to solve puzzles. Just a lot of really interesting, cool stuff. Like, I mean, sure, a 3D mansion is gimmicky, but that is a gimmick I will totally buy into. So it's like creepy, haunted house look to it. There's like a bloody palm print on the summoning room because, there's pentagram on the floor. There's like in the foyer, you can see up through the next floor because the ceiling is missing because it's falling apart. Because the landing above is like decaying. It is really cool looking. And I love investigation. I love deduction. And that's what this appears to promise. So if you like those things, or if you just like a good gimmick or a good pop-up book, check out Doomensions Mystery Manor. There's 12 days left of that Kickstarter, so you have a little more time than usual. And the basic pledge is $62.
Yeah, this could be cool, but not telling people how the game works, you got to stop doing that. People need to quit doing that on Kickstarter. It's annoying.
I know. But then I don't know if it's like deduction. So it's like you read this thing, and then you look like.
I guess, but wouldn't you love to know that from reading the Kickstarter page? Like what exactly goes on?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, but I'm like, I'll figure it out once I get there. No big deal. Ooh, they've unlocked a magnifying glass. That's important.
Yeah, that's
and
cool.
a bonus file, case file in your dossier. Yeah, it just seems cool. They also have done they keep talking about this other stuff Curious Correspondence is who made this, and they've done some other things apparently, but they don't sound familiar to me. There's a deluxe part. 3-part experience. Wait a minute. So do you only get like one case? I'm so confused. That's the other thing. I'm like, just be clear. What am I getting? Oh, this is prologue and epilogue. That's the 3 parts. Okay. I see you. So that's the only deluxe part. It looks cool. Yeah. It looks cool. I know we'll never get it, but I'm intrigued.
The pop-up book, the pop-up board did look cool. I agree with you 100%. I wonder if that's going to be like a new thing with board games.
We've seen a couple, and I have liked every single one. I'm like, look at how cool this is.
Yeah, they look cool. I mean, they're usually in games that don't like. You're not going to see a Euro game with a big pop-up board, which could be cool. I would play that all day. But they're usually deduction or storytelling and stuff like that, which is a bummer.
But I feel like that you would like deduction like that, because then you can actually like, it's not like, oh, in our imagination, I can look at the thing and like flip it open and like find stuff.
That's true. I do like the deduction aspect better than the storytelling aspect, 100%. And being able to look at the map and piece stuff together, that is kind of cool.
Okay, well, those 3 things of all the varieties are what I have for news today.
All right, so let's talk about some games that we played. And we played a decent amount of games. So we're going to pick 3 to talk about.
And new hotness stuff, too.
Yeah, new hotness. One is actually 2 of them are pretty new hotness. The third one, the hotness has faded a little bit. But to me, new hotness. So, yeah, there we go. So the first game that we're going to talk about. I can't believe you
put this first, because you're obsessed.
I am obsessed. If you've seen our social media, I've talked about this game ad nauseum. I did a FOMO blog post about it just because I wanted to. I love this game, and I'm kind of irritated at Kim and Jim for bringing this over, but in a joking way. And the game is called Scout, and the version that we played is the version from Oink Games, but it's from a couple other publishers. Basically the same game, just different art. And what this game is it is just a simple card game. But it's a shedding game, which means you're trying to get rid of all your cards before other players. And the way that you're doing that is, on your turn, you either have to, if you're the first player, you can play a single card down, a pair of cards, a set of cards, a run of cards. You're just trying to get cards out of your hand, but you have to play them in the order that they're in your hand. It's kind of like Bonanza style. So you can't rearrange your cards. And then the player after you has a choice. They can either play a higher set or a higher number if it's a single card, or they can scout a card from your hand, which means they take of the cards that you played. So which means they take a card that you played, but you get a point for them using some of the cards and them not being able to beat your run or your play. And then it'll go to the player after them, and they can either play cards to beat your play or scout again. And once per round, you can do a scout and play, which is when you take a card, you're scouting a card, and then you can immediately play afterwards. So you're kind of breaking the rules of you either scout or play. One time you can scout and play. And you're just trying to keep going around like that, scoring as many points as you can, playing as biggest runs as you can, because that's going to help get you points, and you're trying to run out of cards. At the end of the round, for every card you have left, you get a negative point. You're going to add the points that you've gotten minus what's in your hand. That's your points for the round. And I think you play 1 round per player. That's how we played it, but I think that's what you do. And you're just trying to get the highest score. This game is stupid fun, and I love it. So how do you feel about Scout?
Yeah, it has some like pasted on theme about like your scouting talent.
Yeah, there's no theme here.
For like your circus or something. Like, and I love theme, but even I was like, look at the numbers.
Yeah, it's like, who cares? There's a drummer. Okay, who cares? Go on.
I totally pulled a Jason. Absolutely. This game was fun. It helped that I won. It made me feel real
You
good.
didn't win this.
I totally won Scout.
I thought I won.
I think you might have won Cat in the Box.
No, I lost Scout in the Box real bad. Cat in the Box.
I won Scout by at least 1 point.
Okay, maybe I thought I won because you only won by 1 point. I was doing really good, but you're a jerk.
Oh, let's keep that in mind when we talk about a game later.
No, I've forgotten it already.
I won, and I felt real good about it. Partially because we'll talk about this other game that was very taxing on my brain, and I just was like, I'm just going to play cards and hope for the best because I don't know how to actually play the game. This one, I'm like, I got this. Partly because we play a lot of Bonanza, and we play a lot of card games in general, so it has so many overlapping things like that. Like, it reminds me of the game I was talking about, 535 or something.
Yeah, 535
on Kickstarter last week. So just, I love like a good small game I love good card games because people can relate to those. Non-gamers relate to those really easy. And then you're just like trying and you're like, ooh, I'm down to 1 card. Well, that card's a 1. I'm never going to take anything again. Like, it keeps you on the edge of your toes. That's for sure. And, like the art is fun. Like, just the colors that they chose. I like, so it's appealing. The little box is appealing. It's easy to take places. It would be easy to play. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. I don't feel this obsessive need to hunt it down like Jason apparently has right now. I mean, I figure eventually we will find it. But yeah, it is a good game. I honestly feel like I've seen this in a store, but maybe not. Maybe I made that up.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it could have been before we played it and realized it was good. Because a lot of the times that when I see an Oink game, I'm like, it's Oink. And then I move on, but yeah.
And I mean, I don't know any places any people that make other games. So I'm like, it could be, I don't know, Fee-Fi-Fo Foam Games. I don't know.
That's a great game company. They should be one of those. All right, so that's Scout. Love it. Best game we're going to talk. Well, not the best game, but great game. So the next game is a game. It's called Cat in the Box. Let's move on.
What? A lot of people really like this game. No. It like sold out at Origin.
Yeah, all right, we'll talk about it. So Cat in the Box is a trick-taking game. A quantum trick-taking game is what it says. From Bezier. And the way that this game works is everyone's going to be dealt a certain number of cards based on the player count. And you're going to take one of those cards and discard it from your hand, so not all the cards are in the game. Then the other interesting thing about these cards is they don't have suits. They're all suitless cards. They're just black with a cat and numbers. And each player's going to have this little board in front of them with markers on red, yellow, blue, and green to show the 4 suits. And you're going to have to bid at the beginning of the round on how many tricks you think you're going to be able to take. And it's 1, 2, or 3. You can't bid more than 3. You can't bid less than 1, which I think is kind of annoying. But that's the rule. And then whoever's lead it is will get to play a card. And they're going to determine what suit, what color they want that card to be when they play it. And you can't play red, which is like the trump suit, unless somebody has already played red. So you can't lead red unless it's already been played in the game. Then when you play the suit of the card, you're going to take another little marker, and there's a center board, and you're going to mark the number and the color of the card that you played. That means that card has been played. So if other people have a 4, they can no longer make it a 4 green if I played a green card. And then everybody else has to follow suit or not. They can trump by using the red, but when you do that, you're limiting what you can play in the future. So you're trying to balance all this stuff out in your hand and all that kind of thing. The other thing you're trying to do is you're trying to get the tokens, your tokens put out on that board of the numbers in like an orthogonally adjacent to score points. But you're only going to score points on that board if you've met your bid. So you're trying to meet your bid at least, and then you're trying to get tokens out on this board next to each other, because each token next to each other is worth 1 point as long as you've made your bid. And every trick you take is worth a point, whether or not you make your bid. And if you can't play a card when it comes back to you, it's called a paradox, and you're going to be losing some points based on how many tricks that you've taken. I only did that once. I think that's how it works. You have more experience in the paradoxing, but
okay.
So yeah, that's Cat in the Box. It's a trick-taking game with some funky rules and some interesting differences. I liked some of it. Like, I liked the board play of trying to get orthogonal. I didn't like that you could only bid 1, 2, or 3. I didn't like that you could be on the verge of getting your trick, so you could make your bid and then somebody paradoxes, costing you a bunch of points. I didn't like all that, but the game was fine. Not something that I feel compelled to keep going back to, but cool. So how'd you feel about Cat in the Box?
Hi, my name is Jason, and I just don't like a game, but I'm still going to be a jerk about it to the people. This game was fun. I'm terrible. I'm terrible at it. Every time I got a paradox, I'm like, I don't know how we got here. Because I just felt like I was trying to play a good trick-taking game and take the tricks I was supposed to. But I didn't do it very well because I just got negative points all the time. It was fine. I was shooting for positive points. I did not end up with positive points. But that's okay. Like, it has really cool components. I think I like the concept of it. Yeah, I get some people like, well, I want to bid 0. But again, there's a challenge to bidding at least 1. And so I think there's something to that. I just end up with all the 8s all the time. And let me tell you, if you think that's a good strategy, it's not.
No, because you're going to play 4 of them throughout the game, and there's, 5 of each number?
Yeah, it's bad. And you're never going to be able to play all 4 anyway. Part of that, I didn't realize that there were 5 each number the first time we started playing, so I should have discarded some of those. But I like it, like thinking about, okay, yeah, I can break into Trump and take this, but that means I can't play this color anymore. And it's interesting, the cards don't have colors on them. You choose what color it is when you play it, which I find very interesting. Like, it's totally a new way.
Yeah, I did like that. I thought that was cool. That whole part is cool. There were just some of the things that I didn't like as much as I wanted to.
But overall, I'd say I like it. I don't feel the need to have to own it, but it is pretty fun, and I would play it again, absolutely. And the little, like, cat tokens that you put in, like, these little rows, adorable.
Yeah, I think also maybe I had different expectations for the game because it was so hot, you know? It's one of those things like, this is one of the greatest games ever. And then you play it and you're like,
Oh my gosh, you do this all the time. You're like, we don't want to poo-poo on people like games, but you're like, well, if you overhype a game, I'm automatically going to hate it.
I didn't say I would automatically hate it. I was just expecting it to be different than what it was, I think. That's what. I'm not blaming it on other people. I'm blaming it on myself. My own failure in expectation is what I'm blaming it on right there. All right?
Yeah. It's a pretty fun game. Yes, if I had a choice between that and Scout, I would play Scout because I feel like I can play that and be competitive in it. Cat in the Box, I'm like, I'm just here for the ride. So it's like a fun experience, and it is cool to like try and play the cards that you want to play and make before anybody else plays them, and that choice of what color maybe am I going to not play anymore, and is that going to be bad? So it is a little more puzzly in that.
Yeah, that's true. There's definitely more thinking going on in Cat in the Box than there is in Scout. In Scout, you played 2 3s. I need to play 2 4s or something. Like, it's an easier game, but I don't know. I just like the flow of it a little better. But Cat in the Box is definitely thinkier, 100%. All right, so going from 2 card games, we're going to a big, crunchy Alexander Pfister game. I think it might be his newest one. I don't know. Again, new hotness. We're kind of out of the loop on all that. But
I couldn't even name another Alexander Pfister game, even though I know that he has more.
Broom Service, Blackout Hong Kong, Mombasa, Cloud Age. There you go.
Yeah, one of those.
So the game we're going to talk about is Boone Lake. I think this is his newest one. Again, no idea. It's been talked about more than some of the other ones, so I'm assuming it's newer. And what this game is, I'm trying to figure out what it is. It's basically an action selection card game. That's how I kind of look at it, that has a board. There is a board, but most of the stuff that you're doing on your turn is you're selecting an action which is going to let you do, we'll boil it down kind of simply, either put some tiles on the board, kind of like exploring these territories on the map, put some farmland down, recruit some people to come visit you or to work for you, go put people out on the board as like settlements and upgrade them to houses and then into bigger houses. get cows out on the board for points. All you're trying to do out on the board is get pieces and tiles to score points. But in the cards that are in your hand, every time you take an action from the action, you're allowed to play a certain color of card. There's like daytime, nighttime, and like sunset or something. And based on the action that you take, it's going to allow you to either play a card of that type or discard it for some coins. All the cards are going to do crazy good things. It could give you some extra workers to come that you can use. They could give you in-game scoring, let you move on some tracks. But all these are going to have a certain amount of cost. They're going to have a gold cost, and they're going to have some resource cost. And the resource cost is the most interesting thing, I think, on your player board. You have these 2 canoes, and there's 4 different resources: wood, stone, red, and Lego. I don't know what the red is.
It's like gems.
Yeah, gems and steel. And you have to move these canoes to get the certain amount of resources that you need. You're also going to need to upgrade those factories, because sometimes you're going to need to produce 4 of these things. Each canoe will produce 1, so you can get a maximum of 2 without upgrades. So in order to play these cards, you need resources, you need money, and then these cards are going to be worth points at the end of the game. They may give you one-time bonuses, may do a whole bunch of other stuff, and they're crazy. By the end of the game, you're going to have 30, 40 cards that you played in front of you. It's crazy. And then at the end of your turn, you're going to move this boat down the river, which is kind of the timer of the game. It's going to give you more bonuses. So it's a game where every action that you do gives you points. Everything gives you points. For the first, like, an hour, you're getting no points, and then all of a sudden, you're drowning in points. It's one of those types of games. And I really liked it. It had kind of a lot going on because there were some different... Pfister likes to do different mechanisms that people don't do a lot, so we had to learn all that. A lot of iconography you had to learn. But once we got into it, I felt like it was pretty smooth and easy going, and every time you take an action, everybody else gets to do an action as well, which is pretty cool. So yeah, I dig that. So how do you feel about Boone Lake?
Well, I mean, since I won this one, I feel really good about it.
No, you didn't.
I didn't? Are
Nope.
you sure?
I won by 1 point.
Oh, because at one point, I thought that I had won.
No. I won Scout by 1 point too.
Interesting. You definitely lost. It was 63 to 62. I remember.
I did win this one, though, by 1 point. Yeah.
You did by 1 point. This is my kind of game because I love like multipaths. So you choose. There's these. There's a lot going on in this game, and one of the things going on is at every round you have to kind of do a goal fulfillment. And each person has a goal that they have laid out there that's chosen. Mine happened to be to have a bunch of cows out. And I'm like, dude, I'm going to go into heavy into cows. It's cool. I'm going to do cows. So I did cows. And then I did cars that worked with cows. And I just did a bunch of cards. And I'm like, oh, I have a card here at the beginning of the game that says if I get a bunch of switches, I'll get points. Well, let's get switches. So I had cows and switches.
Not like a switch to hit somebody with, but like a switch
I didn't
that's like
hit the cows with the switches.
A power switch.
But like a lever.
Yeah, a lever, yeah.
That went up and down. So I had a bunch of, I'm like, yeah, I'll go into that. Jason was like, I'm going to put everything on my board onto the main board.
I did. I had everything but one house
strategy.
down there. Everything. Yep.
Chris's strategy, I'm not sure. He didn't do very well. Chris's strategy is like, I want instantaneous points in the game.
Yeah, that's true. He was getting a lot of points during the game. That's true.
And my normal strategy, which I did play, is like, I want in-game points. So I'm busy playing cards and funding to get cards for in-game points. Amy was like, I'm going to do everything and in the middle feel like I'm doing nothing, but I'm going to end up almost, winning also.
She got third place. Chris got last.
Yeah.
The whole time Amy was like, I'm going to lose this game because she was way behind the whole game. Like way behind.
But she was like doing lots of like in-game scoring stuff and other things that kind of worked out in the end. Towards the end, she was like able to gain more points. Like it did kind of snowballed. And I think that's what's cool is that we all kind of did different stuff and it happened to work out. Like it all paid off. It wasn't like, oh, if you don't get out all of your settlements, you're going to lose the game. No, I had gotten rid of one of like my big settlements and like 2 or maybe 4 of the little houses. I still had a ton on my board, but I only lost by 1 point because I had all the switches, the levers, and the cows.
And you don't get any points for those settlements really outside of cows being next to them. So you put all that effort.
You get points on your board.
That's true.
You do at the end.
That's true. but not as much as if a cow is next to it.
Right. So like balancing that out and being like, okay, you know what? I'm not going to build a settlement because I need all these people to help me wrangle my cows later. And I'm going into the cattle business. Like that was my goal. So, I like that. Now, my biggest complaint about this game, and this is dumb, is the box art. If I saw that box, and I'm sure I have, I'm like, what a stupid name. And the box looks like there's like a Wild West town, but then there's like a lotus flower in the front. What?
I was like, I didn't even look at the box. Yeah, there's a lotus flower with yeah, that is kind of weird.
It shows nothing about what the game's about. It's not intriguing. It's not even just like nice really to look at.
Well, it's Clemens Franz, so I mean that should go without saying.
Bless his heart, man.
Actually, that box is pretty good for a Clemens Franz box, honestly.
It is, but yet, like, I take an ugly person on there that would help show me that I had people and cows that made sense of what this game's about.
An ugly cowboy is what it needed.
Right. Clemens Franz can do that. He just takes the Marco Polo guy and puts a cowboy hat on him. That's what I'm looking for.
That's true.
And puts a cow in the background, like the one from Agricola. Done and done. But there's not. And so I'm like, what the heck kind of game is this? And the name Boone Lake with a lotus. I'm like, oh, this is like some weird mandala, whatever. I'm not into that, you know. And I'm like, no, this is like a really great, like, point salad, like, explore your territory kind of thing. I wanted to know that. That is not on the box. It's very upsetting. So I probably would have been interested in this game sooner if it hadn't been so deceiving. I also love, I love good card play. And to be able to use cards that give you instant stuff now and then still have some point value, or cards that are giving you an ongoing bonus that you can use during the game. Like, which one of those do I want? Because they all cost your resources and they all cost money, and money is at a premium, man. Like, how do I get the people I need to put my stuff out? Like, just so many things to kind of balance. What action am I going to take? And, I really sometimes have to plan ahead for my actions. Like, moving down the river and getting bonuses, kind of like you do on Raj of the Ganges. Just lots and lots of really good stuff here. I really liked it.
Yeah,
the box.
It's definitely a good game. It didn't really feel like a Pfister game to me, because for a while he was doing, you play cards down to your tableau, then you had to pick them up in a certain order. It's nice that he got away from that. But it definitely is, you explore, do whatever you want. However you want to get points, you go get points, and hopefully you do it better than everybody else. And I like that. It's good. And I like the fact that when I take an action, everybody else gets to take an action as well. So every turn you're doing something, even if it's not your main turn, which is cool. I like that a lot. It makes you feel like you're playing all the game as opposed to just a portion of the game. And that's cool.
Yeah.
All right. So those are the games that we played. Let's keep going.
Are we finishing up this shelf this week?
One more week after this.
Oh, geez. I can't keep it straight. I don't even know what shelves we have anymore. I'm discovering with you. So we're back with our what's on the shelf. We've kind of got this like little nook of these small little squares. Jason has been trying to post them on social media, so check it out. And this one has some really interesting types of games in it. Kind of strange. So Jason's going to start us off with something that's not our normal kind of game.
All right, so full disclosure, I haven't played this. I don't know a lot about it. It came in a review copy, and I thought it looked cool, so I threw it on the shelf with some of the other games that will see. It'll make sense in a minute. And this is a puzzle book, like a escape room type book, and it's called the Book of Rituals, and it's from Board and Dice. That much I do know, and it has an accompanying app. I just found that out when I was looking through the book before we started recording, and what you're trying to do is you're looking through the book, you're trying to solve different puzzles in there with the help of the app. The app can give you hints. You can input the answers in there and tell you if you're right or wrong. And you're just trying to basically solve the book. That's all I know about it. I looked through some of the pages. I don't even know. It barely gives you any instructions, so I'm assuming the website or the app, whatever, gives you what you need to do. But it has some interesting art. It's all in black and white. A lot of alchemy letters or characters, whatever you call them, a lot of alchemy stuff.
Symbols.
Yeah. There's pentagrams, there's wizard stuff. There's magic stuff. There's just stuff everywhere. It looks interesting if you're into those like puzzle books. I'm not great at it, and that's probably why it's just sitting on the shelf, but it does look cool. So Book of Rituals has not been explored.
Yeah, I didn't know that we had this until the other day when I'm looking at the shelf, actually for, I think, last week's episode, to see what games are on the different cubbies. And I was like, when did we get this? So I haven't explored it. My issue with this game will be I like to play games with other people. And this seems more like a solo endeavor. I mean, you could with somebody else, but it's kind of hard over one small book.
It's a book, probably not.
But I definitely think I'm going to check it out because I have looked at some other games on the shelf that are very similar. And this is from the graphic novel adventures from Van Ryder Games. We have Tears of a Goddess. We have Sherlock Holmes, 4 Investigations, and then Sherlock Holmes, The Shadow of Jack the Ripper. So I have played Tears of a Goddess, which is the Asian themed book. You are this heroine and you are like trying to find these 3 criminals that stole from this temple. So you're kind of going through the city, chasing these dudes down. You're making choices. It is like kind of choose your own adventure type books. It's sort of role playing in a way that you keep track of your possessions. There's like a little character kind of sheet. Your special abilities, the money you have, victory points you get. And it's laid out in like these panels, like a comic book inside there, like a graphic novel. And you make choices on where you're going to go, what you're going to do. You're looking at what's in those pictures for clues. There's like riddles to solve and to try and help you make the right choices. And sometimes you don't make the right choices. This is really neat. I really liked the Sherlock Holmes 4 Investigations. I'm pretty sure I played all 4 Investigations. You can play a Sherlock or Watson. Watson gets a little more clues. It's interesting how the book is laid out to like factor in both the detective and a sidekick. You can see numbers and things all in there. There's, riddles to solve as well. And you're ultimately then you're keeping track of some things as well. Like there's clues that you can find, like, I forget what it is, like find this many coins or like a certain picture or something in different areas and you keep track of them. And that gives you points at the end. Again, like Jason said, that's not a game, but in some ways it is because you're playing kind of against yourself, against the book, trying to solve it. And I like that because, I love consulting detective. Now, I don't know if I didn't realize we had another one with the Jack the Ripper. I forgot about it, which is likely. I haven't played through that one yet. And again, it's because I don't readily go pick these up because they're solo endeavors and I always prefer to work with someone else. But I think if I would remember, these are nice things to take and do maybe in like a waiting room or, while I'm sitting in a boring meeting and not paying attention, you could work on one of these. I'm normally reading a book. And so this is just similar to that, but you're working out puzzles. It's a choose your own adventure, which, I have some fond nostalgia of those from when I was younger. So that's Tears of a Goddess, Sherlock Holmes 4 Investigations, and Sherlock Holmes, The Shadow of Jack the Ripper. So we have those 3 books in there as well. Actually, I think I might have multiple copies of some of these.
Yeah, there's 2 Tears of a Goddess. One.
I think some lovely member of the Riveted sent that to me because he didn't know I already had it.
Yeah, that's probably true. So next up is another game that we haven't played. I think I found it at half price books for like $3 or something. And it's called Sleuth. And this is a Sid Sackson game, super old, from the 70s. So, I'm not just saying super old, like 3 years, like legitimately like 50 years old. And this is... You
say like that, it's a Sid Sackson game, like I should know who that is. Or are you just saying...
No, I was just saying that for everybody who does know who that is.
Do people actually know who that is?
Yeah, he does.
Is that a common name?
Stop. Yeah, he can't stop. He's like the big designer from the 70s that did games that were outside of the normal roll and move scope. So, he had modern games in the 70s before modern games were really a thing. And then So he's like a legendary designer, but he'll never. I think he passed away a long time ago, so he'll never have any new games. But yeah, he was a little bit ahead of his time.
Okay, thanks for the game history lesson. I know nothing.
So Sleuth is a deduction game where it's only cards. There's like a certain number of these gems, and each of the gems are a different type of gem, a different number of gems, and a color. And you're going to take one out of the deck, and that you're trying to figure out which gem has been stolen. And then all the rest of them, based on the number of players, are going to be divvied out. You're going to have a sheet that you're trying to track all the stuff, the gems. And then there's going to be another deck of cards that is how you're going to be asking for information. And this deck of cards could have like, you could ask somebody, do you have any blue cards? Or do you have these 2 gems? But the card will prompt you on what you can ask. It can be 1 characteristic, 2 characteristics, all that kind of thing. So you're just going around asking questions, kind of like Clue, but without moving around the board, because it's just trying to figure out the cards. And then you're marking off on your pad, trying to figure out which gem is missing. If you think you got it, you can guess it. If you guess right, you win. If you guess wrong, you're out, and everybody else can keep playing. So it's a more in-depth version of a Clue, because you're just trying to figure out one thing, but there's so much more stuff to investigate, but no board, and just asking questions. It seems cool, just not one that we've played yet, because I think it plays better with like 5 and 6 players, and to get 5 or 6 players who want to play a deduction game is not always the easiest. So, Sleuth.
Yeah, I remember when you got this, and in my mind, I was thinking it was like a Guess Who type game or something, where the cards were people, but I think it's a different game. That's Noir, and I somehow mixed them together in my brain. So yeah, I like to play it. I think we just haven't brought it out when we've had bigger groups, because you don't ever like to play with 5 or 6 players.
Well, and I got to actually sit down and make sure that what I said right there was correct. That's just what I've watched some videos, and that's how I think the game works, but I've never read through the rule book and all that. So I don't feel comfortable enough teaching it yet. So,
okay, going in a different direction that's not puzzle solving or deduction or anything. We also have Kanagawa on the shelf. And this, for some reason, I always mix this up with another Japanese named game that is sort of similar but not the same, and I can't even think of it right now, which, I feel real good about that. I told you, I'm tired. My brain is not working. But Kanagawa hits a lot of things that I like. Card play, multi-use cards, and a beautiful, beautiful art, Japanese theme. So in Kanagawa, you are going to this painting school, and so you're drafting cards. And the interesting thing is the cards are laid out on this board, and you're going to draft a column, and some cards are face up, so you see what's on them. And there's usually at least one face down card in a column. And so you're taking them, and you can either paint the picture that is on the card, and you're kind of building up your tableau painting. Or you flip the card upside down, and you're going to actually use the symbol on the bottom of the card to help you, be a better painter, to be able to paint different things. So you grow your knowledge on painting mountains or painting waves, water, or trees, because you can only paint what you know how to paint. I mean, that makes sense. And also, while you're doing that, you're painting different things. There are different icons, pictures of people, pictures of trees, different things on there. And so you're collecting these bonus tiles for the different things that you're painting. And you're kind of moving there's these really cute little brushes inside pots that you're placing on your cards with your painting abilities in order to be able to activate them. There's a little more to it than that, but basically it is building this really beautiful tableau through card drafting and then choosing how you're going to use your cards. And we hadn't played it for a while, and I'm like, yeah, I remember we played it and I liked it. I think I always mix up the name with Kobayakawa.
That could be true. Yep.
But they're not at all the same.
No, we haven't even played Kobayakawa yet.
I know. I don't know why, but we do have Kanagawa, and it's beautiful, and I think we should play it more. So that's also on the shelf.
All right, so the next game I want to talk about is it's like a card game from 25th century, and this is called Space Explorers. And this is kind of think Splendor, where you're trying to get different tokens to play these cards, but this is all done through playing cards and building a tableau of these cards in front of you. All these cards have There's 5 different colors, and you're trying to meet the criteria at the bottom of this card, either from cards that are currently in your tableau or cards from your hand, to be able to play these cards down into your tableau to make it cheaper for you to play cards in the future. So if I have 2 blue cards in my tableau, any card that I want to play in the future that needs 2 blue, I already have that in front of me. I don't have to play cards to get that. And then as you're building up your tableau, there's also these projects that are out, kind of like the Nobles and Splendor, that if you had the certain number of each color in front of you, or a certain number of certain colors in front of you, you can say, hey, I have this, you can meet the project, and it's going to just give you a pile of points. And also some of the cards that are in your tableau, if it's the top card, meaning the bottom one in the stack, if it has a special ability on it, you're able to use that special ability until it gets covered up. So it's more in-depth in Splendor, there's more going on, but it kind of has a similar vibe to it, where you're just trying to build a tableau to be able to take other cards to score points easier and cheaper. So that's it. And that is Space Explorers.
Yeah, I don't love games about space, but I think this has really interesting art. It's like old advertising from like, the 50s, 60s look, when the space race, 60s when the space race was big, which I think is really interesting. I, for some reason, get this confused with like every other space game. I'm like, oh, is this like Space Base? No, Roll for the Galaxy? What the heck? I don't know why I can't remember this. And I feel like I liked this game. We just don't play it that often, and I'm not sure why.
Because we have a lot of other games, I think that's why.
Well, I know, but I mean, we played the crap out of Splendor.
That's true. That is true.
I think that this is kind of like that next step, and it might be nice for people that we play with to play this. So I think we should pull it back out.
Yeah, this is a better game in my opinion than Splendor. It's deeper, I guess. I wouldn't say better. It's a deeper game than Splendor is, but similar vibe.
All right, and the last game is something completely different. We also have the expansion, which I don't know. We haven't played, so we didn't really talk about. But this game is Bargain Quest. I really like this game. I feel like I'm a big advocate of Bargain Quest. I've talked about it before. It's in my top 100, I think. Because Bargain Quest has so many great things going on. So Bargain Quest is essentially like a drafting... it's not really set collection, but drafting, you're selling. I'm not sure.
Yeah, you're drafting cards that are trying to meet some criteria from a window.
I know. I was trying to think of what all the other, any other mechanics were. But the basic mechanics is card drafting.
Yeah,
so
mostly drafting.
What you are is you own a shop, and they have really neat these little boards that represent your shop window. And they're different colors. Really cool. Love it. This plays up to 6 players. You are a shopkeeper in a town where adventurers come before they go out and fight these monsters. So you are going to draft items to help equip these adventurers. So the heroes will come to your shop, they will pay you the money and take the equipment. If they win or lose, you're not as worried about that as long as you get their money. I mean, you do get some points, I think, some money if they win, but ultimately that doesn't matter as long as they bought all your equipment. Whether it worked for them or not your problem. And I love that. You're drafting cards because you have to put one in your window to attract the customer, but you can't actually sell them that one in the window, which is such an interesting concept to think about, to sort through, to like, okay, I want to get this type of adventurer, there's certain symbols on them, because I want money from them, because I know that they have a lot of money. So how do I do that and then still have things to sell to them that they're going to actually want? Then you're also upgrading your shop. You can hold extra things. You can get some items that'll help yourself make extra money. And you're just trying to be the person to make the most money once I think 3 monsters are defeated. We have I think it's called Black Market is the expansion, which looks really cool because I love the base game. We just haven't played it yet because I don't know why. We just haven't. We haven't got this one out for a while, actually.
We know why. There's a person that we like to affectionately name Brandon, who doesn't like this game and he whines about it. So that's why we don't play it a lot.
It's true, but I think it's really good. It's drafting someone. Oh, someone else complained. I think Joel complained about it.
Yeah, cold drafter.
It's all about luck, and you don't. I'm like, what?
It's not
you
luck.
Just got to make the best with what you have, man.
You see the cards that are getting passed around. You see what's in people's windows. Like, how's that luck? That is what it is.
Yeah, I don't know. I just really enjoy it. The artwork is really cool. I like the idea of it. You're doing hand management. I think our version's from Renegade.
No, we have the pre-Renegade one, the indie one.
Oh,
yeah.
Look at us.
We bought it at
Cool before it was cool. We didn't buy it at Origins, didn't we?
No, the Pennsylvania one.
PAX and
PAX. Yeah, we got this at PAX.
Yeah. Look at us. We're like hipsters.
We had this game before it was cool, y'all.
That's right.
Now I hate it. Now that's cool, I hate it.
Right. Yeah, the Black Market expansion came out in like 2019, and we have not played that, but the artwork still looks good. This is that one. The expansion is from Renegade, but you've got new heroes coming along. You've got the criminal underworld. You've got new functions and stuff. So I would love to play it, actually, with this expansion. It is better, I think, at higher player counts. It says you can play it at 2. I thought you had to play it at 3.
I mean, maybe the Renegade one you can now play it 2, but yeah, I thought ours was 3 minimum.
Yeah, so that's another reason why I think we don't play it. We don't play games with each other all that often either, so who knows? But we need to, and so that is Bargain Quest, the last item on the shelf.
Yep, that's a good game. It is one that I would like to play as well.
All right, so that's what's on our shelf. This is an odd shelf. We have Choose Your Own Adventure books. We've got a deduction game we've never played, pretty Asian art, space stuff, and a drafting game. It's a wide variety of stuff. So what about you guys? Did you find something new? Are you intrigued by one of these games? Have you played these games? Do you recommend them? Tell us in the comments. You can hit us up on Facebook in the best Facebook group ever, #TheRiveted, where we just talk about games. We've got a Discord channel. We've got the Instagrams. We've got the YouTubes. We've got the Twitters. We just like all the opportunities to talk to you guys about what games you're playing. We think about games. We love finding new games, all of that. So tell us what you think on any of those outlets.
Yeah, I think Katie basically covered it. So yeah. Good job.
Back to the whole 70-30.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to talk. I'm already at like 10 minutes. That's my quota right there.
Oh, man. Okay, well, I think I'm going to take a nap or something because I keep yawning. I hope you edit that out of my recording.
Yeah, I'll get it.
All right. Well, I've been Katie.
And I'm Jason.
Keep gaming, everybody.
Keep gaming.